you end up at the other end in Ushuaia, Argentina, you can claim that you have been to, the northern terminus and the southern terminus. Something I hope to do myself someday. I've not been down to Ushuaia, but yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of my job is meeting people like yourselves that are from all over the world. It's pretty cool. And it's a rugged adventure and a very robust adventure in itself just to complete the Dalton Highway. So yeah, I want to underscore that. I don't want to undercut anybody's success here in making it this far north. Bird road conditions south of Dead Horse are really bad between here and Coldfoot. So yeah, y'all deserve a pat on the back. Weather systems from Siberia, and 3 or 4 days ago it actually was snowing a little bit out here. Snowing and sleeting. It's cold enough we might see that happen today. Yeah, we're at 32 degrees. Water is trapped on the surface because about 12 to 18 inches down there is permafrost. Permafrost doesn't allow anything to drain. It starts to it can refreeze the bottoms of the permafrost lakes. It forms a bit of a waterproof barrier. It also forms the ice wedge polygons, the patterns you see on the tundra here on the right side, and throughout the drive today we'll see those ice wedge polygons. They are formed as meltwater is trapped underneath the active layer above the permafrost, refreezes and expands in the winter, lifting up the active layer. They just drill a hole into the ground and rely on geological pressure to push all the well product to the facilities. But even today, as these wells remain artesian wells, they are not as productive as they used to be. This is an aging oil field, not as productive as it used to be, not by a long shot. The Clean Air was Act. Refined diesel had to be ultra low sulfur grade. It was not cost effective. Over the past 10 years we've had warmer, wetter winters that have caused serious and severe decline in all the caribou herds in Alaska. North Pole is out that way another 1,200 miles. And you come back in October, you can walk out there. You could walk to the North Pole if you wanted, because the whole ocean freezes.
I wasn't sure what I was expecting, but I guess I was thinking there was going to be some sort of a boat to the Arctic Ocean. But the shuttle is the bus, about 20 or 25 minutes, and then you get out. And if you want to take a dip in the Arctic Ocean, you just kind of have to walk out there. It's very shallow, and so it's really not like a plunge like you might see people jumping in the Antarctic or something like that. This is the Arctic Ocean Polar Bear Club.
Ooh, my goodness. That's cool. This is Mike.
Hey
Me and
guys.
Mike were the two that went all the way under. How was your experience?
It was good. It was solid. Cold.
Have you ever done anything like that before?
Nothing like that. Nothing Arctic or polar bearish. But it was fun. I'm glad I had you going in there too, so I didn't feel alone.
Where are you from?
From Idaho.
Idaho.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And you rode a motorcycle
I did.
up here?
Yeah.
What's been the best part?
Honestly, best part so far. Canada's obviously beautiful, but Attican Pass is pretty amazing.
Yeah, on the way up here on the Dalton Highway.
Yeah. Incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Fortunate to have good weather there. Good enough.
Where do you go next?
Back down to Anchorage.
Anchorage.
Yep.
All right.
And done.
Jack, how many times have you jumped in the Arctic Ocean?
I've lost count. It's every day, twice a day usually. I've been fighting a cold, so it's not been every single day. But yeah, cold water has a lot of health benefits overall in general. Wakes me up extra time every day.
So you've been doing this for a couple years.
Yep.
And is this what you want to keep doing, or what do you want to do?
So for winter, I actually applied for a couple jobs in Antarctica. Really crossing my fingers to get those. Everybody that works in the seasonal job industry eventually wants to work in Antarctica, so it's pretty competitive. But I met some people down the road at Tulik Field Station that.
What would you do in Antarctica?
I'd be driving vehicles. I also applied for recreation supervising, which just, means coming up with different activities for the kind of confined workers to participate in. I just love to learn about things, and that's why I want to go to Antarctica, to discover things there, just, in my own citizen science way. All right, yep, presenting a Arctic Polar Bear Club certificate of membership to jwise. Signed myself as a witness on July 10th, 2024.
Thanks, man.
Welcome to the club.
Hope you enjoyed that tour of the Arctic Ocean and got a chuckle out of me freezing my butt off, literally, in the Arctic Ocean. So, got my certificate though. Very proud of that, and I am check that one off the list. So now I'm gonna head back to Coldfoot. If you watch the the first episode, heading up this way, we kind of zipped through there before we stopped in Wiseman, and I'm going to stay in Coldfoot tonight. It took me almost 7 hours to get here from Wiseman, so maybe a little quicker since I'm not going to be stopping. We'll zip down there and show you Coldfoot. There's a lot of these construction stops here, and this is a long one, like 20 minutes, and so I ended up stopping and talking to this guy. And the jobs up here are interesting. Like, you have to basically stay here. There's a little camp over by the way, and he's like, yeah, you work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and you just sleep and you work, and there's not much to do. And so interesting lifestyle until the job's done and they go to the next one. And the guy at the tour today talked about how there's a lot of these construction jobs on the roads, but there's not enough people to work them. So if you want to work, there's plenty of work and they pay really good, but definitely gonna be bored. He said that it's a very boring very boring lifestyle. So literally all you're doing is standing here out the road holding this stop sign for 12 hours. And some days the weather is brutal, and some days like today it's really nice. So so be nice to those people as you drive past. I know I keep saying how rough the roads are, but that should give you an example. Obviously that truck hit some bad holes and it didn't end well. Well, we made it down to Coldfoot Camp. It was a pretty quick drive compared to going up, so very enjoyable. Interesting seeing the views coming that direction, so was not too bad. This is where I'm staying, Coldfoot Camp, and it used to be called Slate Inn because this used to be called Slate Creek, I believe, and it was a mining area. And it became known as Coldfoot because I guess they would go up the creek or the river / creek, and it was so cold that people's feet would get so cold and they'd have to turn around. So it became known as Coldfoot. And today, obviously there's a place here to stay. I'll show you around. It's like the very similar to Dead Horse, where it's made for the oil workers. Kind of stopping halfway here, and they have a restaurant and a gas station, and on the other side of the road there's a kind of museum / interpretive center that we're going to go visit, and they have an airport here too. So we'll walk around, show you what's here, head over across the road and check out the museum as well. cool if that was my room. Here's a good overview of the Dalton Highway. This is where we were this morning. And now we are down to Coldfoot. On the way up, we stayed at Wiseman. It's a really nice visitor center, especially when you think how few people actually live in this area. So it's nice they have such a nice area for people to stop and check out. And they're going to show a movie tonight at 8 o'clock. So I'm going to go kind of get cleaned up, have some dinner over at the Coldfoot camp, and then come back over and see what they're playing. They said it's up to whoever shows up what we want to watch. I'm guessing it's some sort of nature film, and we'll see if I'm the only one that's here. Watched a nice little film about kind of the history of this area and you know why it's so important. And it's not just because of the oil fields at the top of Dawson Highway. It's because of it's protected land, and so it's you know, in the film the guy said one of the quotes I remember that he said was making this protected lands, let Alaska be Alaska. And I guess that's probably the best way to sum up like what this trip was. I was thinking at first is like, well, I'm going to go to the northernmost town that I can drive to. But really it was like about the stuff in between. It was about the difficult driving. It was the scenic views. It was some of the mountain passes that you go through, and then learning about the little towns and staying in a couple of them. And obviously the Arctic Ocean and jumping in that was cool. Cool, literally cold. And, but just kind of learning about the history of things. When I do other videos, you're learning about the history of towns, and that's always fascinating. But here you're kind of learning the history of areas, and they're not, there's not as many towns. So, but I really enjoyed it. And on the tour that I went on this morning, the guy said that how there's much less, oil being produced up there. So eventually, that'll end, just like if an oil boom in some Oklahoma town ended once. And so someday that oil boom will end, and there really will be no reason for this road anymore except for maybe for these communities, but you know, it's probably not enough because there's not that many people live here. So maybe in 100 years, this road won't exist anymore. Glad I was able to do it. Once in a lifetime kind of chance to do something like that. And I would recommend for you to do it. It's not for everybody. And but if you're into a sense of adventure that's, you know, you're not really going way off into the backwoods or anything like that. You're staying on a road and you're, you know, pretty safe for the most part. So I'd recommend it. Hey, you made it all the way to the end of the video. And now that you're here, let me tell you a little bit more about all the other things going on this channel. If you want to become a member, you can become a member on either Patreon or YouTube memberships. There's 3 different levels, and as you are on a different level, there's more and more things, behind the scenes videos, different things that you're going to be able to gain access to. Make sure you check out my website, travelwithawiseguy.com. There's a whole bunch of new stuff on there. There's a merchandise link with some new cool merchandise. There's a newsletter that you can sign up for. About every 3 weeks I send out a new newsletter that's free. I have Google Maps, which has documented every place that I've made a video about, and you can click on there and you can go to the map and you can find the videos that I made, and it's all in one very convenient place. There's lots and lots of other stuff on there, so make sure to check out the website and explore all around what I've got going on. But once again, thank you so much for watching this video.